The Golden Knights are victorious in Colorado. We talk about VGK and its first Winter Classic coming up in 2024, and the Golden Knights win the second period again.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. I'm Tony Cardasco along with Chris Golick. You can find us on Twitter at LockdownVGK, at Tony Dasco, at TD Chris G. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is Locked On Golden Knights. So let's make it now 6 games, the last 6 games in this series. The visiting team has come away the winner, Golden Knights in Colorado, which is a very odd statistic. And last night it was VGK with a 3-2 road win against Colorado and the Avs. And Nathan MacKinnon gets the scoring going, Chris. And that was just 25 seconds into the game, fresh off of the IR, second game back. And then VGK with a good response. Michael Amadio, he scores off of a primary assist from Nick Hague. And I did want to talk about Amadio on yesterday's show, because one thing that I've noticed about his game, and maybe you've noticed it as well, Chris, the anticipation, right? Before the shot, before the puck arrives, he knows what he's going to do with the puck. And I think that, to me, that's a sign of a really good player in the National Hockey League. I've just watched him, the anticipation, he'll call for the puck at times, and then he gets the puck and he drives the puck to the net. I think he knows more than a lot of players on this VGK team what he wants to do with the puck before it even gets there.
That's a fun observation, and I certainly agree with it. And we had talked about who could step up, going back to the Eichel and Pacioretty situation, who was going to be able to play along with someone like Jack Eichel and have that ability to finish and things like that. Now, obviously, Jack Eichel being injured is the reason we're getting to see what Amadio can do. But point being is Amadio does have a finishing ability that no one knew he had, right? I mean, whenever he was claimed, I believe, because the Kings simply dropped him. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Another castaway, another misfit, so to speak. And now we're watching another player grow. And I got to toot the old Kelly McCrimmon horn, I guess, a little bit here, and for Chandler Stevenson as well, if we're going to keep on going down this route for a minute here. But it's fun watching what players can do when given an opportunity. And you have to earn the opportunity. They don't just look up and down the lineup and say, okay. I mean, let's be honest here. Keegan Kolesar was getting some chances in line one last year with the injury situations. And, unfortunately, he did not show the same finishing ability that Amadio has. So, again, this kind of is another weapon that the VGK has in the tool belt, so to speak. And, as Cotter comes back, as Marchessault comes back, as Eichel comes back, as Howden comes back, and you still got this guy named Phil Kessel, who hasn't shown a whole lot yet, but at some point we should get something out of him. That's the hope at this point. So is the team ever fully healthy, really after the season starts? Not really, but we certainly hope more of those guys will be back than injured as far as on a percentage side goes, And what's going to happen? Is Amadio going to stay up there? Are they going to come back with a balanced attack like I had suggested? And you're starting to see that making the waves around different social platforms now. It's a good spot to be in, and kind of just rambling a little bit here. But man, I can make a case for this being a Stanley Cup winning team as much as I can make a case for us being a wild card fringe bubble playoff team right now.
Did you see me pass out right there?
I did, but it's that more people are on my side than your side with that. And, but yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, like I said, I'm also on both sides. I can still make a very, a very realistic case that this team could miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
And nothing in between. It's so bizarre right now.
Right. And then last night, Nick Waugh was celebrating his 200th game. So it was his 200th game last night, and he scored twice, one off of the Colasar and Korzak assist, and then later,
Also, that you really didn't have anything in your throat. You were just bringing attention to your locks
correct.
of the night. Okay, folks, just
I mean, who else would have picked Colasar and Korzak but me?
the clock is right twice a day, Tony. Chill out.
Right. And then later on, the deflection off of a Carrier shot. And, Bruce Cassidy could sense. He could sense. We talked about this on yesterday's show, Out of the Chute, that Nick Waugh and his line mates were doing well and were about to be rewarded. I think he could see a little bit into the future just by the way they were practicing and then buzzing up and down the ice. And so he gets rewarded twice in the game last night after a long drought.
I don't think it's never any more evident than it is for line 4 for most teams in the NHL, especially the Vegas Golden Knights, where they need to focus on doing the little things right, because line 4 traditionally has the least amount of skill, but possibly the most amount of grit and determination. And what you lack in skill when you're up there against the other team's line 1 type players, you make up for in your brain. You make up for positioning and just this will and desire and physicality, which line 4 still has that. It's not the Ryan Reeves physicality, but it's still a very physical line. Colasar and Carrier will certainly punish you if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And Nick Watt also isn't afraid to throw his body around. So line 4 does so many of the little things right, and it creates opportunities on both sides of the ice to, on the defensive side, to wear down the other team and then create some odd man rushes or, second and third and fourth chances. Or every now and then Will Carrier just, presses a button on his shoulder pad that gives him this crazy boost, and he just decides to go end to end and score a highlight reel goal. So, line 4, I mean, even when they're not putting up the numbers, and they're not always going to put up the numbers, especially the numbers at this pace right now. And, credit Nick Waugh for sticking with it and not trying to get outside of his game and finally getting back on it yesterday. Colasar, another Colasar, I think he matched his career high point streak too. Will Carrier, hey, I don't know. It's probably pretty close to 2 or 3 games, but all kidding aside, line 4 is getting it done right now, and they're being asked to do big things in big situations, not just to keep the momentum going, but there's still a lot of the times, as long as they're fresh, that the other team, they will get double shifted when the other team scores a goal to go out there and get the momentum back. That said something right there.
Okay, you're talking about Colasar. A good fight last night for once.
I actually didn't see it. I'm sorry. I didn't watch it.
So he and Andreas Englund had tangled in the game. And I think that some of this was going back to Bowen Byram.
Oh, Byram, yeah.
Byram, where it was 2021 and he took a run at him, and then the Colorado Avalanche, and they don't forget these guys.
No.
And so they stored that up, and I think that they were headhunting him a little bit in the game, and I couldn't quite possibly try to figure that out, but that's the only thing that it could come back to. Of course, Byram is still out and injured. However, the heavyweight matchup, they go toe to toe. Colasar again using those body punches in an NHL fight, but they let them go, Chris. They let them go for a long time, for a lengthy period of time, and finally, so I thought that Colasar won the early rounds there because I think they went more than one round. And then we saw where Englund came back and got in a couple of good headshots there later on. But it was one of those good old fights that we saw in the NHL in bygone days where they just let them fight. They didn't separate them, and it went on for a while.
As long as they are keeping their body moving and keeping the fight going, the refs aren't going to jump in, especially when they're going toe to toe, even if it's starting to take a certain amount of time. But the moment that the refs sense that someone is, tired, at that point, it's protection, right? I mean, if someone is just getting walloped out there, but they're still on their feet, that's when the refs, obviously, there's that thin line of safety and spirit of the game and letting them iron out their differences. And, you don't want to let a fight go too long, because obviously that's when someone does start to get winded, and maybe the player who is on the attacking side of the fight is kind of holding them up just to get a few more in there. Usually there's a lot of, and it's weird, folks, but if you watch the podcast, you must be a diehard hockey fan. But there usually is a fair amount of respect in these fights, even when there is an anger behind it, where if a player senses the other player is just simply unable to protect himself, or the second they go to the ice, a lot of times they pat each other on the back right away, and they'll say something. And even when it is a spirited bout, there is an element of respect, which that can go both ways if you want to keep fighting in the game or not. But the ref's got a job to do, and as long as the boys are going, they're going to let them go until someone either can't protect themselves, they hit the ice, or a combination of both, I guess.
Did you get a chance to see the replay of that Mikko Rantanen goal?
I did.
That he scored, and I just wanted to get your impression. They had a lengthy review, and I thought for sure that the puck had crossed the line. I thought it went over, and it took them a while to figure it out. What did you see from those reviews?
So I was actually, I didn't catch it live. I was actually selling on my app last night, and it was actually kind of funny. As the game was ending, I actually recorded our Locked On Now reaction that has not been published. I don't know if we're going to get it or not due to the events that happened last night in Buffalo and everything. But I literally held the phone like right in front here as I'm doing my breaks and stuff. And I got a couple Vegas people, my buddy William and Sin City Sports Ray, and like, guys, what should I say about the game? I didn't really watch a ton of it, but I was keeping on track. But I got to record this right now. And then they talked to me. They were talking about the goal and what happened, and I gave a perspective without even seeing the goal. And then and then William suggested, hey, make sure you start off by saying bad second periods are so 2022. So that was how my night went last night leading up to the Locked On Now recording. So shout out to William and Ray for being awesome supporters and fun to interact with. But so back to the goal. What I saw in the replay was, first of all, no idea where the puck was at first. No idea. You saw the scramble. The heck is this scramble? You saw the scramble and everyone doing their thing, what they should do, and credit the refs for actually letting that play go, because that puck was loose somewhere in there, and I couldn't catch which official it was, but he was right on top of the net. He was where he needed to be and let the play go as long as he possibly could, based on the player's reaction, based on his vision of the puck. The moment I knew this was going to be a goal, I mean, I knew it was because I knew what was going to happen, but you watch Nathan McKinnon's reaction. He just points at the goal and points at the ref and skates away. He knew that was going to be a goal right there. So the second I saw that, I'm like, okay, this. I knew that was. I knew there wasn't going to be a whole lot of argument about it. It took a while, but with how calm he was about it, you knew that it was most likely going to be a goal. So all the replays that they showed, it was very hard to catch the whistle in real time and where the puck was. I'm sure they might have had another angle that we weren't privy to last night to see it. But even still, and I have to go back through the rules here, and I was talking to, again, William and Ray last night about it, but I'm pretty sure in a situation like that, if the puck is clearly loose and the ref does blow it dead, I don't know if, I'm going back to the Blues game, maybe not. I don't know if the whistle can save the goalie is what I'm trying to say. If it is.
Yeah, I think it does.
I think it can, because I'm going back to that Blues game, I believe, where it was just an absolute, just terrible situation. So maybe the whistle can. So I might have misquoted myself last night when I was talking with them. But point being is, on the ice, obviously they didn't have the call rights. But after the review, and the review, just like football, it's got to be completely clear. It has to be completely clear. And the fact that the puck crossed before the whistle blew. That's it.
Yeah,
it's that easy.
The Amadio goal was a very fortunate turn of events for the VGK. McKinnon, I think, down on the other end, rings the post, gets it underneath the post, really. And it caromed, I think, between the crossbar and the sidebar last night. Georgiev is not, I told you this earlier, like earlier in the season, he's not that durable to last for the duration. I don't think that he is goaltender number one. And that was a big break, because then Amadio comes down the other end, and then he gets that goal. And so now I added it up. And so Georgiev, 17 goals on the last 111 shots he has allowed. And on that other goal by Waugh, the puck actually went under, the shot by Carrier went under his pads, and then it was knocked home by a very alert Nick Waugh in that game. So some good luck, some puck luck for VGK, and they'll take it any which way. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the 2024 Winter Classic, as VGK will be a part of that game. and they're taking on the Kraken, the last two teams that made it into this league. We'll talk about that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your sports betting information, for all your stats, your news, and everything else, your analysis. You've got it. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league that's out there, from pro football to the college football championship game coming up next Monday, to basketball to the NHL. We've got it all on betonline.net. If you love sports podcasts, you can even find those on BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get all of your sports betting information. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn a lot more. BetOnline, where the game starts. Welcome back from Las Vegas. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick here, and we thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. You can find us wherever your podcasts are available, wherever you get them. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. And yesterday, Chris, the National Hockey League announcing that VGK will be meeting the Kraken January 1st, 2024, New Year's Day, T-Mobile Park in Seattle. And so that'll be next year's Winter
You
Classic.
killed my thunder on that yesterday, Tony, but I'll yell at you in a second.
No, go ahead. Jump right in.
So I put I put out there that the Knights and Kraken will play at T-Mobile next year. And I was dangling the bait right there. I was here fishy, waiting for someone to be like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? And then I was going to wait for someone to say, well, wait, T-Mobile doesn't open. But like, yes, it does. What are you talking about? T-Mobile has a retractable roof. And I was going to go as long as they let me. And then obviously at some point, someone's going to chime in and say T-Mobile Park in Seattle. But I think Tony wet my Cheerios before that.
I had to jump in there. I saved you, man. I saved the day.
No, I was poking the bear, Tony. I was trying to cause trouble.
I didn't realize that.
I was trying to cause trouble. Just assume I'm trying to cause trouble when I'm tweeting weird stuff like that.
Okay, so yesterday in the Winter Classic, Boston, by the way, did a tremendous job. The Boston Bruin players
the
came
baseball,
out of
Pittsburgh too, but they both did it.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. They did the baseball uniforms, and that's the first thing I saw. I thought that was so cool. The Black Keys performed there. We'll probably see Pearl Jam or Eddie Vedder or both right up there. Yeah.
Seattle, one of the goalies for the Kraken actually just put Eddie Vedder and Kurt Cobain on his goalie mask, by the way. How amazing is that?
That's very cool. That's very cool because that is obviously grunge city.
Oh yeah, I've seen Pearl Jam in Seattle. I've done it three times now. Once with the Red Hot Chili Peppers opening for him also.
Nice. And then Boston Pops did Sweet Caroline, but I thought they did a really good job. Yeah, they did a great job there in Boston, though. I'm just curious what they're going to do in Seattle. Yes, we wanted the game here, but this is really cool.
Oh, this is fun. It's fun. It's fun.
No tickets on sale yet, but it's a pretty big game. And you know, in the stories that they had written yesterday, they said this is the second outdoor game for VGK because they played in Lake Tahoe. But that wasn't a Winter Classic. This is much different, right?
Oh yeah, no, and I mean, credit the NHL for all these creative ways to,
make more money.
Well, sure, fine, but I mean, the Lake Tahoe game, I thought that was excellent. It was just it was strange, obviously, but it was a really cool environment, minus the whole ice and the 9-hour delay and the fact that it didn't end until like midnight our time. But after all that, it was a really cool thing. Definitely, you have to pinch yourself, right? I mean, I put this out there when the Seattle Kraken came to Vegas about a month ago or so now. You had at the time, you have team numbers 31 and 32 who are first and second. I think they were first and second in the West at that time. That's when Seattle was making that great punch, or that they were definitely first and second in the Pacific and very highly ranked in the West. And obviously VGK at that time in the league and still are. And it's absolutely amazing how fast these teams are developing. And there certainly is a level of, I'm sure there's a few NHL GMs and franchises that would like to start from scratch and press the reset button. But point is, you still have to build it the right way. And, last year, Seattle, they did what we thought Vegas would do their season one. They would, draft some vets and draft some youngster, or they would draft some vets from the expansion draft and obviously start putting their core together through the entry draft. But it seems like it's coming together faster there. And I thought it was amazing. I definitely was poking the bear on this one. All the people out there that are just mad that Seattle and Vegas get the feature outdoor game out there. It is awesome. There is so much Marcha salt out there right now. And I friggin' love all the comments. Oh, what about someone else that deserves it? Get out of here. You don't deserve it. Go away. Listen, Vegas and Seattle are doing amazing things as far as the way they're drawing, the attendance. Vegas is just a whole nother planet when it comes to the entertainment and the game experience. And Seattle is unique as well in the things that they do up there. And the fact that both teams are playing well. I mean, geez, this could be a rematch of the Western Conference Final. As crazy as that sounds, Seattle and Vegas somehow facing off in the West could be a reality based on the seedings and the rankings and however that whole thing shakes out. And that would be absolutely remarkable. I was actually finding a story down here. So I grew up obviously a longtime Blackhawks fan, still love my Blackhawks, but the Golden Knights, are A1, no questions asked at this point. But the first outdoor game that I really remember was Detroit Red Wings, Chicago Blackhawks, Wrigley Field. I don't know if it was 09 or 2010, whatever it was, but it was one of the early ones in Wrigley Field for a hockey game. How remarkable is that? So the story within the story now, Chris Chelios, longtime beloved Blackhawk player, traded to the Red Wings. Absolutely a hard one to swallow for many Blackhawk fans, but no one had anything. Well, and they might have booed Chelios a little bit at the time, but that's just the nature of the beast. So Mike Babcock is the coach of the Red Wings, not the most liked coach in the history of hockey. We'll leave it at that. And they tried to healthy scratch Chris Chelios that game. And something came together where they didn't end up doing that. And he was the seventh defenseman. We know how well that works out. He started the game, played like 2 or 3 shifts, maybe 5 shifts total early on in the game. And it was that obviously he knew he wasn't going to play another shift at that point because Babcock was just that cruel of a coach. So he starts, and the story is out there. Like, this isn't something, I mean, I do want to cite this because this is a kind of a touchy story here. Detroit Free Press puts it out there. So I'm assuming that's a pretty respectable news source. Chris Chelios, it's apparent he's not going to play. He starts chugging beers during the game. He literally, I don't know if it's like in a water bottle or how it's working out, but he is chugging beers throughout the game because he knew that there was no chance of him, going back out there. And he's literally like tipping his glass to like tell people to bring him beers. Like, it's absolutely crazy. This is happening. And then says, then Brad McCrimmon, I'm assuming that's our defensive coach, tried to get me out there with a minute left to kill a penalty. And Chelios said, not a chance. So that's that's a pretty funny situation. You can find that on Detroit Free Press. Just Google Chris Chelios beer outdoor game or something like that. That's what I did, and I'm waiting for all the crazy beer ads now on my Facebook page.
Oh, that should be fun. And the one thing I don't like about the outdoor games is just that the rink is detached from the fans.
Yes.
And they did have a puck that went into the dugout yesterday, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I'm with you on that, Tony. And that's all the games. Like you can't put the fans that close, number one, because obviously that'll take the sight lines away and things like that. And it is a weird environment. And it's the type of thing like, I saw Pearl Jam at Wrigley Field back in 2009 or 2010 as well, or something like that. Maybe it was 11, whatever it was.
A big year for you. Big year,
huge year for me. And point being is we were sitting like, I don't know, over first base about 10, 12 rows back. You can't see anything. Oh, there was actually a storm delay in that game. There was a 3-hour rain delay. And then now we're going to keep going here off the rails now. Ernie Banks actually comes out with Eddie Vedder, and they sang the song all the way that Eddie Vedder wrote for the Chicago Cubs. So seeing that, and I'm a White Sox fan. I'm not a Cubs hater, but I'm a White Sox fan. That was just such a powerful moment to witness that. But point being is you're way far out there. The sight lines aren't good for concerts at these stadiums and things like that. And it's not a hockey T-Mobile Park. It's not a hockey arena. It's going to be weird. But point is, you go to say you were there. And that's it. You get that story, you get that experience, you get to enjoy all the wonderful beefs that are up, the sausages that are hot links that are right up and down the street there between that and whatever the football stadium is called, Lumen Field. It's Lumen Field now with CenturyLink. So much great food over there. Seattle, wonderful town, and great music. Go catch some grunge at the Showbox or something like that, and make it a party.
Is that still up and running?
It is. We were in Seattle about a year and a half ago. Me and my wife actually just decided to go there on a whim, and we had a good time.
Yeah, that is a fun city to be in when it's not cold, rainy. snowy, which we can expect.
So you
to
just
see.
took 362 days of the year out where you can't go to Seattle, Tony.
I got a story. So, I used to travel for business up to Seattle an awful lot. And people, like in the wintertime, they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to know you, nothing. It was the coldest flights. I think people wise, no personalities, nothing, going back to the dreariness of Seattle, right? On the flights and all that. The only time, so all of a sudden I went there like in the spring, beautiful, glorious, sunny day. I go into the hotel and the waitress actually said hi to me. And I was like, what's going on around here? That's what I said to her. And she goes, no, it's just a great day. I go, okay, the sun's shining. So
When me and my
that's why.
buddy were in Seattle for a Pearl Jam concert, it was actually a nice sunny day, like you alluded to. But it was a little chilly and like somewhere in like the mid 50s, something like that. But a nice sunny Seattle day, which you don't get too many of. And there was a lady actually walking with an umbrella. And it wasn't because she was expecting rain, it was because the sun was out. And it was like odd. It doesn't happen a lot up there. So we actually got a Polaroid of that somewhere, or a picture, or whatever you call it when you with your quick camera and you went to Walgreens and one of those
had
things.
To develop, you had to get the film.
Had to get it developed. Yes, you pay like $10, and so like when you go to a concert, right? You're taking the pictures, in the front row, because at the time they wouldn't let you bring any like higher quality cameras in. So when you're taking the pictures, you're just praying to God they come out focused the next couple of days. And yeah, we're having fun, Tony. Reminiscing.
Yes. Yeah, we are reminiscing. And coming up next, we're going to take a look at the here and now. Well, we've blasted the VGK for their inefficiencies in the second period. But now we have an opportunity to talk about them turning the corner, perhaps.
So 2022, that second period sucks. So 2022.
More after this, right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick come to you from Las Vegas every Monday through Friday. And make sure that you check us out on the podcast, Locked On Golden Knights. Of course, you're probably tuning into that right now. And if you're just listening to us, make sure you check us out, because you can see these mugs right here, right there. And that mug and the coffee mug each and every day.
I got one from last night too. On
our YouTube channel.
I got a lot of mugs here.
And please subscribe, Locked On Golden Knights. So, hey, we're coming up on the official halfway point of the season. So that'll be game number 41 coming up against the Penguins this week. And so we'll have a chance to recap the entire first half, because I see a lot of these first half evaluations, and it's not yet the first half of the season gone by. Something could happen big, right, against the Penguins. Okay, so we'll do that this week coming up.
It's not going to be the same roster. McCrimmon's got something up his sleeve.
You think so? Do you think so?
Sure, he's got money to work with.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see.
That might be tomorrow's show right there.
Okay. So second period improvement. I wanted to talk about that. So last night, we heard where Bruce Cassidy said that this was the biggest key of the game, where they scored twice in period two, and they kept the Avalanche off the board. You go back to the Predators game, the previous game, 2-0 was the score for VGK in the second period. And the Ducks was 1-0 VGK. The Kings game was 1-1. And you have to go back now to December the 23rd against St. Louis, where they lost the second period 3-2. But it became an ongoing joke. What are they now? They're -10, they're -11, they're -12, they're -5, 10, 8, 7, whatever. Each and every night, they were digging a bigger and bigger hole, a greater hole. So let's talk about what led to the improvements, do you feel, in period number 2 for the VGK?
I was trying to look up and see if there was if there's a quick way to find what the plus-minus ratio is, because I'm curious where they are in the second period. It's got to be better than it was. I mean,
oh yeah, it's got to be like maybe down to like 6.
Yeah, that was the first thing going through my head as you were talking there.
5 or 6, it's got to be.
I don't know if anything is giving besides, we'll start with a little bit of puck luck. I mean, you have to reference that to a degree. And the reason why I say that is because this is a good team. Even when not at full health, this is still a good hockey team right now that is winning big games. They just beat I almost said dethrone, not the right word, but they almost beat the Colorado Avalanche. They just beat the Colorado Avalanche last night, defending Stanley Cup champions. and they beat it. It was pretty convincingly game, right? I mean, you knew Colorado would make a push at the end there. Now Colorado's got injuries. Nathan McKinnon's not 100% yet, but still, that's a big game in a big situation. So ultimately, where I'm going with this is there's a system in place. Whether we can all explain what Bruce Cassidy's system is or not, there is a system in place, and the team has bought in because the results are there. And whatever is happening in the second period, because there has to be some systematic changes because you have a longer change and things like that. There are different things that happen on line changes and different set pieces, if you will, to get the players on and off the ice. And maybe that wasn't ticking for a while, but they stayed the course. And now you're starting to see the team get rewarded for whatever it is they're doing in practice, whatever it is they're doing in the games, to just kind of stick with it. And the third period is now, that's maybe a little bit of a different story, but last couple of games, there's a bit of a pass, obviously. The game, it got a little closer last night, but good teams make pushes. So, Vegas held their end and were able to weather the storm at the end of the game, especially that absolutely crazy moment that had, it seemed like 12 players, or 11 players all in Logan Thompson's crease. Yeah, exactly. And God, McNabb freaking leveled somebody. I forgot. I didn't catch who it was, but McNabb absolutely leveled somebody. And you got this weird, I don't say weird, but you have this stoppage line that I'm seeing Cassidy putting out there at the end of the games right now. I put this out there a couple of games ago, but this little hero defensive line, if you will, is Carlson, Waugh, Carrier. And I've now seen this multiple times where that's our shutdown forward line to end these games with. And you certainly understand why Nick Waugh and Carlson are out there. You want two centers out there in the event one of our centers gets thrown out of a faceoff. You obviously don't want Will Carrier or Keegan Colasar, taking a faceoff in a big situation like that. So, Nick Waugh and Carly, they're going to get the job done in the middle. Carrier, I mean, he's one of our shutdown forwards in the eyes of Bruce Cassidy right now. Going back to the second period, which is what we're talking about here, everyone buying in, whatever it may be. Credit Cassidy for spinning the dials and getting it right, at least for now.
I just was looking last night at the number of players on VGK's roster that have played in every single game. And I think that there are 6 of them. Stevenson,
okay.
Stone, Smith, your guy, Carly, that's what you call him.
Colasar, right?
No. Colasar missed a game or two this season. And then Kessel and McNabb. I think McNabb, that's it. Those are the top 6.
Crazy,
that have played in each and every game this season. And then your boy Carly that you were just talking about, 15 games without a goal. The only goal during that period, an empty net goal somewhere in there, the Winnipeg. He's got a 15 game drought with a goal. He's got an 11 game drought without a goal. He's got a 9 game drought without a goal.
Tony, just make him your lock of the night. That'll fix that. You got Colasar going. You got Waugh going. You got Korzak going. Where'd you pull that from, Tony? It's got to hurt. Wherever you say you're going with K and K and K and K, and the first, was it the first or second goal of the game, K and K on the assist. That's just where you throw the phone up, put your head back. You're like, kind of like what you did when I said VGK could be a cup contender. That's what I did when that happened.
Okay, so for locks of the night, do we happen to have standings? Like, what are we playing for here? We got to.
I was keeping track, Tony, and
now you're not.
It got away from me, and I think right now you're probably at a. If I had to put, you're probably at, after that lovely K&K performance last night, you're probably about 26. I'm probably about 24, and the fam, they're about 19.
Last night, did the fam even get a chance to put in picks last night?
The fam is they're putting in. We're asking everybody for their collective opinion. We did have someone say Stone and somebody last night. I did see that.
I saw that too.
Stone and Waugh, maybe it might have been Stone and Waugh actually. I don't know.
So
maybe your uncle or something.
Paul Cotter was on the trip but didn't play last night. I thought again
that was weird. That surprised me.
Right, just like Marchessault last week in Southern California. And so I wonder why they take them on the road, but
need some sun.
Doesn't utilize them at all.
Need some sun.
So a big homestand coming up for VGK.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule. I mean, we have our opinions on it and stuff like that, but it's being crammed down our throat from the TV to the coaches to the players and everything like that about the crazy schedule. Well, they better go by looking at this month. They don't have their first back-to-back until they go to New York, the 27th and 28th.
Oh, that's
Islanders,
such a tough
Rangers,
one.
Islanders, and
Oh,
that's
that's
a
so.
very short bus ride game,
Come
obviously.
on. Come
So I mean,
on.
by this, let's see, there's 3, 5, 8, 10. There's only 12 games in the month. They better go 10, 1-1 or something like that, because the way they've been chirping about the schedule, they better, there better be some big results. I'll be after we get off the podcast, I'm going to get my credentials for Thursday, hopefully, and I don't see that being a problem. So I'll be in the building and doing my thing, and it'll be interesting on Friday talking about the first half results and maybe a little bit of a grading type thing, and talk about some surprises and what needs to continue. And Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, could this team win a cup? Yes. Could this team miss the playoffs? Absolutely. And it's all on the table right now.
You're not as concerned about goaltending anymore. And were you surprised to see Logan Thompson last night? We both thought that it could be Aiden Hill, but he's in the doghouse. Let's face it. He definitely is right now.
I agree. And when are you going to play? I mean, is he not going to go until January 12th, which is also my birthday, by the way? Is he not going to go until January 12th against the Florida Panthers? Because I mean, you want to play, you got to play LT on Thursday, a big game against Pittsburgh, division game on Saturday against the Kings. The following Saturday, the 14th, Connor McDavid comes to town. Like, where do you? You're definitely gonna have two different goalies playing on the 14th and 16th, because the 16th is a matinee 3:00 game. So there'll be something definitely weird there with the goalies happening.
We're going to see Brossoit, right? You think during this homestand? I just have this feeling.
I think we're going to see him sometime in January. They need to see what they got right now at the NHL level, because one of two things: they need to find out if he can be possibly counted on in a role with the VGK, this year or otherwise, and probably more importantly, dangle him out there for the league right now. Hey guys, there's a lot of teams that need goalies right now. There's a lot of teams that need a proven NHL goalie that can, log minutes and give your team a chance to win. And, we got some holes in the lineup right now, pending what happens with the injuries. And I mean, I'm concerned about Alec Martinez and his long-term situation right now. I know he's just on regular IR, but that could be changed. Zach Whitecloud, we're not going to see him back, I don't think, in the regular season. I don't care what they said. I don't think we're going to see him back. So Shea Theodore, that's quiet. We thought turn of the year, Jack Eichel, Shea Theodore will be back by now. And we're also still down Marchessault and Cotter.
Marchessault. Yeah. What about Marchessault?
And Howden. We don't even talk about Howden. Don't even talk about him.
Didn't Alec Martinez, before we get out of here, didn't he come back and skate on the ice? And he was supposed to be in the lineup in one of those games last week.
I was talking to my son going up the elevator at the last game we went to, the New Year's Eve game, and someone said he was like skating and was going to play in this game. I said, wow, I didn't hear anything about that.
He was supposed to be playing in. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching in warm-ups. I'm like, there's no
IR.
Martinez out there. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I don't know. Maybe they were. Well, no, I'm not gonna say it.
It's okay. He's played through a broken foot before in the playoffs.
He's a warrior, and if he's not out there, his leg must be sewn off.
It's got to be really, really tough for him. We thank you all for tuning in.
He would still play with one leg if he could.
Absolutely. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day, wherever you get your podcast. And please, please, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. We'll see you tomorrow right here. And thanks for tuning in.